Hey, welcome to Craft Central Designs. Today I'm sharing with you this beautiful Easter wreath made from the Wood Bunny sign from the plus section at the Dollar Tree. This wreath has many creative layers, from the 3 colors and patterns of the deco mesh to the decorated Easter eggs to the easy transformation of the Dollar Tree Wood Bunny sign to the mixed ribbon bow. This one was just an absolute joy to create. Welcome back to my subscribers and to all visiting my channel today. If you are not currently a subscriber, I hope you will consider becoming one. And let me know what you think of this Easter wreath. Let me show you how I made this beautiful Easter wreath. This is the bunny that I referred to at the plus section at the Dollar Tree. The only color that I saw it came in was pink, but I had another vision for this piece. I have a heat gun there because I'm going to be taking off that welcome sign. But again, you may prefer to keep the welcome sign. This wreath has so many choices and versatility in the way that you can create it. For me, I wanted the Happy Easter sign. I believe I had picked that up at Hobby Lobby. I took off the bow, the hanger, the welcome sign, and the tail because I had another tail, which I'm going to show you there in just a minute. I have a 14-inch wire wreath frame from the Dollar Tree. And I'm going to be using 3 different deco mesh. And all of these are from Hobby Lobby. And I only buy my deco mesh at Hobby Lobby when it's 40% off. I have 3 different textures of mesh and 3 different colors. That's my favorite white one. You all may know that about me by now if you follow my channel. I have a pink one. These are all 10 inches wide. And then I have the burlap one with the white little cottony balls on it. I'm not sure what you call that, but I have my sponge applicator. I have a pink color that matches the burlap. I have there some white wax, but I did not end up using that, and I'll show you what I did instead. But I tried to match my paint, or in other words, my bunny, to my deco mesh. Now this wreath has kind of a farmhouse, kind of rustic country feel, but this piece can be made so many different ways with all different colors. So while you watch me create this wreath, I hope you'll be thinking of how you could change it up and make it your own. There's that bunny tail. I had purchased this in the pipe cleaner pom-pom section at Hobby Lobby. And there's that little Happy Easter sign. I picked that up in I believe a 2-pack or 3-pack at Hobby Lobby. Now everything for Easter is 40% off at Hobby Lobby. These ribbons were left over from last Easter season, but I'm almost sure I got them on Amazon. It could be Craft Outlet, but I think it's Amazon. Look how cute. These are so kind of farmhouse, country, rustic type of ribbons. That one is so cute. And then there's a buffalo check to go with it. They came in a package, as I recall, all together to match. And this one's really cute too with the bunny ears, a little bit of pinks in there, just to add a little color to the wreath. I had picked up this container of narrow ribbons for only $3.50 at Michael's. They were on clearance. I'm not really sure why, because it was a great container of narrow ribbons, just all kinds of beautiful little ribbons in that container. I'm going to be using those for the little bow that's going to go at the ear of the bunny. I have here a bunch of other ribbons, and I didn't use all these, but I'm going to show you options. That one was from Hobby Lobby that you just saw. The pink and white polka dot, again, Hobby Lobby. Always buy my ribbons 40% off. I don't buy them unless they're on sale. That was an Easter ribbon from Hobby Lobby. And I have here a selection of other narrow ribbons, some of which I purchased at Walmart, and some, I believe, from Hobby Lobby. So, I love a variety of ribbons to make bows for my projects. So I'm just showing you different options there. You could go with so many colors on this wreath. Orchids and pinks and minty greens and pale yellow. Oh my gosh, this piece, I could have done this piece 20 different ways. But I had to decide on one. So I decided on kind of that burlappy farmhouse feel. But again, be thinking as you watch me create this wreath how you could change it up and make it your own. I have here some eggs that I purchased at the Dollar Tree. I only used the pink ones out of there, and I decorated those eggs a little bit with some trim. But they have some really cute Easter eggs at Dollar Tree. These were actually, I guess, intended to be like ornaments, but I just cut the ribbon off of mine. Oh, and I used the sage green one there. And I have yellow, there's some striped. And I also have some eggs that I purchased at Hobby Lobby in the kind of burlappy colors. Those are a little bit bigger, and I mixed them with the ones that were just a little bit smaller. And I have your pipe cleaners, which I'm certainly going to be using. I have pink and white. I have Aleene's Tacky Glue, scissors, hot glue gun, wire cutters, all of the normal tools that I use, and clips. You will need at least 3 clips. And let's get busy on this beautiful wreath. We're going to start out with the deco mesh. And as I mentioned, I use 3 different types and different textures. I'm going to be cutting my sections of deco mesh in 16-inch long pieces. There's going to be 3 sections or 3 pieces of deco mesh per bundle. I'm going to be using a pink one, a white one, and that burlappy colored one there. One of my favorite deco meshes. Actually, both of those, the white and the burlap one, are 2 of my very favorites. The burlap one is very soft, and I really love that. So I'm going to be cutting, again, I mentioned 16-inch pieces of deco mesh. And there's going to be each one of those colors, 1 piece per bundle. Now you can use a rotary cutter or scissors to cut your deco mesh. That's up to you. I ended up using 18 bundles on this wreath. So in deco mesh, I would say you would need one roll of each. You probably will have a little bit left over, but that's okay. You can always add it to another project. I really filled up this wreath with a lot of bundles. You might be able to get by with maybe 16, but I really like mine super, super full. And so I'm cutting my sections and I'm preparing to create my bundles. I'm going to be using the woodland method, which you've seen me do this before, but I'm going to show you anyway how I created that in case you're new to my channel or you haven't seen this application before. You're going to roll up the end of your deco mesh about 3 times. And that's the raw edges that you're rolling up. The factory edges are on the left and the right. You're going to turn it around, roll it up 3 times again. And then I scrunch up the deco mesh with my fingertips till I meet up with the other side and I clip it, the whole thing together. This method has a number of different names, but most crafters call it the woodland method. And then I'm going to take my white piece and do the same thing. Roll up the end about 3 times. Turn it around. And you can see the lines on the deco mesh go on the left and the right on this particular mesh. Roll up the other side about 3 times. Scrunch it up in the center till you meet up with the other side. Then take your clip and clip it. Now, if you're familiar with this method, you may want to just forward over this part, but I like to try and remember that not everyone has done this. So in my videos, I like to take the time to show you so that you can fully create this wreath by the tutorial. Okay, now I'm doing my other deco mesh, the burlappy one. This mesh is so soft. I love this mesh. And I'm going to scrunch up to the other side, use my clip, and clip it. Now I'm going to take all 3 of those bundles and put them together. This creates the most beautiful bed of deco mesh on that wire wreath frame. So we're going to put them all together, take off the clips, take a half of a pipe cleaner, wrap it around, really snug. Pull that pipe cleaner really snug and try and get the tails of your pipe cleaner as even as you can, because you're going to be, you see I'm doing that right there, because you're going to be applying that those mesh bundles to the wire wreath frame, and you want to have enough tails so that you can do that very comfortably and firmly upon the wire wreath frame wire. So we're going to continue on making all the bundles that are going to go on that wreath. And just in case you didn't get it the first time, yes, I'm going to show you again. You're going to roll up the ends of the deco mesh 2 to 3 times. I'd say around 3 times is best. Put the clip on it. And you're going to go on the other side now. Roll that up around 3 times. I try to roll that up to a little bit of a tighter coil, because if I don't, it's going to really open up on the wreath. And I'm trying to keep the coils, I call them coils or rolls, so that they stay more intact as far as shape on the wreath, if that makes any sense. Now I'm doing the pink one. Roll it up 3 times. Scrunch it up with my fingers. Go up the mesh. Just crawl up with your fingers. When you get to the other side, clip that. And now the last one. Same thing. Roll up your deco mesh 3 times. Apply a clip to that. Hold it. Turn it around. And roll up the other side. And scrunch that up. Put the clip on it. Now you're going to take all 3 of those, place them together, wrap a pipe cleaner around that, and you're going to do that 18 times. Sounds like a lot, but it goes pretty quick, especially once you get the technique down. Wrap your pipe cleaner around. Make sure your tails are somewhat even so you have enough to wrap around the wreath wire. Twist really well and continue making all of your deco mesh bundles. So pretty. Look at the textures. The colors, so pretty together. This reminds me a little bit of the breast cancer awareness wreath, if you follow my channel, that I had done before. Only the pinks are different, and I use that beautiful white deco mesh on this one. Okay, so I'm going to be using the second from the inside wire, or in other words, third from the outside wire. So I'm going to be applying my deco mesh bundles to that, let's just say the third wire from the outside. And I'm going to place the deco mesh bundle firmly down on the wire. I usually start at a crossbar to kind of anchor the bundle. I'm going to wrap it around the wires, turn it over, twist it, and make sure it's really firm on there so it's not sliding around. And you're going to fill up that wreath frame with these bundles, and it is going to be magnificent. Now, don't worry. You could see that bundle there is kind of separated. Don't worry, because when you get all of your bundles on your piece, you can arrange your bundles and just recoil that up a little bit. Don't worry about anything like that. And when you get your wreath all put together with all the bundles, then you can go about just arranging your deco mesh. And this deco mesh is so compliant that it will just sit on that wreath wherever you place it. And there you have, look at that, so pretty. Now, as you go along and watch me do this, again, I'm urging you to think of the other colors that you could use. Look at this. It's so beautiful. All chocked full of beautiful deco mesh bundles. Now, as I mentioned, you can arrange your bundles if you feel you have too much white in one spot or too much burlap deco mesh. Just pull it, arrange it. Just take your fingers and work the deco mesh to make it sit exactly the way you want it. I'm showing you there that adorable bunny sign that I got at the Dollar Tree. Now, I mentioned that I'm going to take off the welcome and the ribbon. And I actually have another tail that I want to use for that. So I have my heat gun that I'm just going to loosen up that tail. Now, I was not able to get that welcome sign off without just completely destroying it, but I was pretty determined to get it off. I wanted the bunny without the welcome sign. You may want to keep the welcome sign, in which case you could paint it or do whatever you like with it. But I used my heat gun and I used my spatula just to melt that glue a little bit so I could loosen the words and just take that off. Now, the beautiful thing about this bunny, and I don't know how well you can see it in the video, but it has flowers all over it, and they're raised flowers. So that means if you take a paintbrush, a dry paintbrush, and go over that piece, you can accentuate all those flowers. And I'm going to show you what I mean by that in a minute, but I had a vision for this piece. Now you can really see it. It's very textured, and it's actually a very sturdy piece. I want to say maybe a 1/4 inch thick, and I didn't have to even worry that it was bowed like some of the other signs at the Dollar Tree. But I went ahead and I painted my bunny because I'm doing my bunny in a burlap color. But again, think about it. That bunny could be orchid, baby pink, a pale yellow, a light blue, a kind of an aqua color. Oh my gosh, you could do so much with that bunny. Now I have my 3 ribbons that I'm going to be using for my bow. Now, I decided in this tutorial, I'm going to take it slow with the bow. So again, if you want to forward over this part, go ahead. But if you're new to bow making, or you just need a little clarification, maybe you've seen me make a bow before, I'm going to take it slow and really show you how I created this mixed ribbon bow. All of these ribbons are wired. They're 2.5 inch. I'm going to pinch my ribbon. I left around a 12-inch tail on there. I always do that because I want to be sure that I have the amount of tail that I really would like to have for my piece. Now, each of my loops is going to be around 10 inches, and I'm showing you there. Now, you can use a ruler if you're more comfortable doing that, but I learned from the very start many years ago when I started doing bows, I learned to eyeball my loops. So I never really ever measured, but feel free if you're more comfortable doing that. Now I'm going to pinch my ribbon in the middle and hold it with my thumb and my index finger. This is how I'm going to keep all of my loops together until I put my pipe cleaner on. Now, because this is a single-sided bow, meaning only one side has the print on it, I'm always going to have to twist my ribbon and before I fold over my loop. Now, I put it in the center. I put my thumb over that. Then I take my left hand, my fingers, and I scrunch it right in the center. Did you see me do that? Now, as you go along, you can adjust your loop size. That's what I just did there. Twist the ribbon, because now I have to be sure I have the right side of the ribbon facing up. I have 2 loops on one side, 1 on the other. So now I'm doing loop number 2 on the right side. I'm going to fold it over, match up the size of my loops, let my finger rest on the ribbon, take my other hand, I'm showing you there, scrunch it up, stick it underneath my thumb. That's how easy it is. Twist my ribbon, fold it over, match up my loops, put my thumb on top, take my other hand, scrunch it right in the middle, and stick it under my thumb there. Now I have loop number 3 of my 6-loop bow. 3 loops on each side. I always think of my bows as having a midline. So when I say 3 on each side, I mean 3 on each side of my fingers, or 3 on each side of the midline of that bow. Now I'm going to fold over my last loop, matching up my loops, and I'm going to pull my tail down because I'm going to be cutting off that tail about the length of the other tail, which is around 12 inches. Now I'm going to take a pipe cleaner and wrap it around to take the place of my fingers that's holding all those loops together. Press it in the center, wrap it around the back, turn it over, get a nice tight application of that pipe cleaner and twist it. And here we have tier number 1, or what I consider the base of the bow for a wreath. Next, I'm going to be using the ribbon that has the tiny gingham check with the pink flowers and the cute bunny ears. This ribbon is so pretty. Like I said, I purchased this last Easter, and I'm thinking that I got it on Amazon. But anytime you want to make a wreath, this is what I'll tell you what I do. I know the theme of the wreath, of course, and in this case, it was Easter. So I just go on Amazon and I search, and I put in Easter wired ribbons, and if I have a particular color in mind, I'll put that in the search on Amazon. And then I like to just shop through all the ribbons. Maybe you'll see one that you like better than this one. But that's how I shop for ribbons on Amazon. I do the same thing on craftoutlet.com. I love craftoutlet.com ribbons. But I also have picked up many pretty ones on Amazon. So if you are ready to make a wreath and you want some really pretty ribbons, shop for them. Don't just rely on the craft stores, because sometimes you can find something much better, much prettier, or much more conducive to the piece that you're making on other sites, such as Amazon, such as craftoutlet.com. Okay, so I'm constructing this layer of ribbons for the second tier of my bow the same way that I did the first one, twisting my ribbon, folding it over, matching the loops, putting my thumb on the ribbon, pushing down with my left hand in the center to scrunch up that ribbon to stick under my thumb there. Now, once you get accustomed to making bows like this, oh, you're just going to love it. I think that bows can make or break a piece, if you know what I mean by that. I mean, you could take the most ordinary looking wreath and you put a fabulous mixed ribbon bow on it and it just comes alive. And that might sound silly, but that's just the way I think about it. And this bow is going to be beautiful. But like I said, I search for my ribbons because my ribbons are extremely important. Because I know I'm going to be making a beautiful bow, and I know how important it is. So I really spend time looking for my ribbons. In fact, it's probably one of the first things that I do when I have an idea to make a wreath. And then everything around it, whether it's florals or Easter eggs or whatever the case might be for embellishments on a wreath, then you can match it up with your ribbons so that everything kind of coordinates. And I always talk about pinks, how hard they are to match. So it's best if you get your ribbons first and start with that and then start working your way, through all the elements of your wreath. This ribbon is my favorite. I am crazy for it. I love these long-eared bunnies. And I love that it says Happy Easter. So I'm going to this is going to be the top tier of my bow. So this one's front and center on the bow. Now I made this one with my loops slightly less. So I want to say instead of 10 inches in length, I did them maybe 8 to 9 inches in length. So they're going to sit right on top of the other loops, but sit there just a little bit smaller. I'm going to be creating 3 loops on each side. Now this is an example of a ribbon that has a direction. And what I mean by that is the Happy Easter and the bunnies are all going in one direction. So I pay attention when I get close to the end, like which direction everything is going, if that makes any sense. And then I decide from there which side of the bow I'm going to have my tails. So that when I place it on the piece, really what I'd like to be able to see is that Happy Easter shows up, not upside down, and the bunnies are not upside down. I hope I'm not confusing you, but that's what happens when you use a ribbon like this. You want to try and have like the Happy Easter and the bunnies, facing the right direction, vertical or close to that on the piece once you put your bow on. So I constructed my 3 loops on each side. Now I'm going to be making a center loop on my bow. And now I'm at the point here where I'm looking at my bow and I'm deciding where my tails are going to go because I can see which direction is going to be the best, where Happy Easter is going to be, you'll be able to read it in plain words. So what I'm going to be doing is making a center loop on this bow. So what I do, I could see my wheels turning even as I watch this video. I'm deciding what I'm doing here. So I'm going to turn my ribbon under and create a loop. And I'm going to hold that with my thumb. And look what's going right down the center of that bow or that center loop. One very cute long-eared bunny. So I'm going to take my pipe cleaner and go ahead and secure that center loop. As you can see, I'm poking my pipe cleaner through there. Now that pipe cleaner came from the back where I twisted all those layers of, or all those loops together. That's where I got the pipe cleaner. I just popped it through the center loop, brought it around the back, and again, twisted it. Now at this point, I'm going to look at my bow and decide which direction I want it so I can decide where to pull my tails. Right now I have one on the top and one on the bottom, but you can see me turning it over because I can see that that bunny and Happy Easter are going to be better on that side. So I'm going to go ahead and pull my tails down to meet up with one another so that I can place that on my other two bow layers. You can see what I'm talking about here. Now, it's inevitable that some on the loops might be facing another direction, but in general, you can try and position your tails so that you can get, for the most part, be able to see the direction that your bunnies and your Happy Easter is going. I hope I'm not complicating this too much, but you'll notice it when you put it on the piece if everything's kind of upside down. So pay attention if you're using a ribbon that has bunnies or whatever the case might be. See that they're going in the right direction. So I pulled my tails down. I'm just kind of shaping my loops. See the bunny right in the middle? That's perfect, just what I wanted. And sometimes it's just a matter of luck to get it that way, but I always love it when it works out for me. Now I'm going to be securing all of these bows together with one long pipe cleaner. So you can go ahead and cut off the pipe cleaners in the back for the top two bows. Now I'm going to start placing them together, and I'm going to match up the centers. I'm showing you there, and I'm going to press them very, very firmly together. I want a nice flush application, one bow on top of the other. This is a long video today. I'm sure you're noticing that, but as I mentioned in the intro, this wreath has so many creative layers. And so it takes time to explain all that. So feel free to, forward over anything that you like. But for those who are interested in making this wreath in its totality, the way I am showing you, I'm going to make sure that you understand how to do that. So I'm taking a long pipe cleaner, a full one, sticking it through the loop right between the tails, and I'm going to pull that pipe cleaner around the back, keep those layers of bows all nice and snug, bring it around the back, twist it, and your bow is all constructed. Now I wait until later to trim up my tails until I have it actually on the wreath. You can dovetail if you like, or you can angle, and that's what I do with all of my bows. And there we have our beautiful Easter bow that's going to go on this piece that's going to match up very pretty with all of the deco mesh. You could do this, as I mentioned, in any of the pastel Easter colors. Would be just beautiful. You could do all Easter colors with this. Do 3 different colors of deco mesh in Easter colors. Get a beautiful ribbons with all the colors to pick up of your deco mesh. I'm just shaping my bow a little bit now. Of course, I'll be doing more of that once it goes on the piece, But you can see, I'm showing you that bunny again. I'm very proud that that bunny came out right smack dab in the middle of that loop. I thought that was so awesome. And see how you can see Happy Easter? And how those bunnies on that ribbon are laying just right. So that's going to look really, really pretty on the piece. Even the other ribbon did the same thing. You see the one underneath it? See how the bunnies are going the right way? Okay, I made my point about that. Okay, so now what I'm going to be doing is making a little bow with narrow ribbons. And oh no, you know what? I think I'm going to be decorating eggs now. Sorry about that. I thought I was going to be making the bow for the head, but no. Now, I took all of my Easter eggs and just made my decision as I went along with the eggs. I believe I used about 8 eggs on that wreath, and I decorated all of them. I put bows on them. I wrapped them with ribbons. I had some pretty lacy trims. That one looks so pretty right there. I'm just giving you some options here. And everything that I put on my eggs is done with hot glue. Now, if your wreath is going to be outside, if you want to put a dab of Aleene's tacky glue as well, that's fine. Mine actually is going to be on the inside, so I didn't put tacky glue on everything. But if your wreath is going to be outside and you live in a very warm climate, you can go ahead and put a dab of Aleene's tacky glue along with your hot glue. I'm going to be making some tiny bows. Now you can do these however you like. Maybe you do finger bows or, whatever the case may be. You do you. It's very easy to make a tiny bow. I'm just doing 2 loops, 1 on each side, and I'm just using craft wire. Sorry, my hand's bobbing in and out of frame there. I'm sorry about that. And I just use craft wire to secure the middle of my bows. Pipe cleaners are too bulky for this, so just use a nice thin craft wire. You could pick that up easily at the Dollar Tree. And I'm just twisting that in the back. Now, each one of my eggs, I ended up using 4 colored eggs. I used 2 pink, and I used that sage green egg that's polka dotted, I believe, from the Dollar Tree, because I noticed in the ribbon that I used, the one with the bunny ears, there was a little bit of a soft green in that ribbon. So I decided I was going to play on that a little bit and add another pop of color on the wreath. So I added a couple of those in there as well. I used quite a bit of white ribbons and white trim, but I did make use of the container of burlap themed ribbons that I had gotten on clearance at Michael's that I showed you in the materials intro. Now, I'm not going to show you how I made all of these Easter eggs. That's up to you. I will show you what I ended up doing with them. But that's a creative personal choice, how you want to decorate your eggs. I'm just telling you, narrow ribbons, narrow laces, narrow trims are the way to go to decorate your eggs. And I love decorating eggs. So I just made a little burlap bow there, and I was giving you kind of an example of how to make something small to go on your eggs. Now, I'm just decorating 1 egg for you, but I'm going to show you. I just wrap a piece of that burlap ribbon around, the same one I made the bow out of. And I put just a little dab of glue. And again, if it's going to be outside, if you want to put a dab of Aleene's tacky. Oh, I have to show you this. Someone got into my eggs. Not sure who, but this looks like the guilty party. And she doesn't even care. She's chewing it up in front of me after she got in trouble. This is my grandson's dog, She gets into everything. So I just wanted to include that in there. Maybe you have a dog that gets into your craft stuff too. I'm not even sure how she got that egg because she's pretty short, so she can't reach up on the table. But anyway, I just thought I'd include that in there. So I just wrap my ribbon around, put a dab of glue there, secure it, and then I just pop the bow on right on top of it. I make sure that I keep my seams in the back. When I go to apply my eggs to the wreath, I make sure that the seams are hidden. So I put my bow on the front of the egg. I don't want any seams to show, is what I'm trying to say with my ribbons. I'm not sure why I'm doing it over there again, but I'm showing you again apparently. Maybe the ribbon didn't reach. I don't know. I was busy talking. Now, I know that decorating eggs like this is time consuming. So if you're looking for a quick project, this probably is not going to be the one. But there's just something about decorated Easter eggs. I made a wreath last year. You can look it up in my playlist. It was a pink and black and white gingham checked Easter ribbon. Oh, I'm Easter wreath. I'm sorry. You have to see it. It's so pretty. One of my favorites I've ever done. It's in my playlist. And so there's my decorated egg that's going to go on my beautiful Easter wreath. And I went ahead and decorated all 8 of my eggs in different ways. I'm making a point to show you here. If your tails are not behaving, just use just a dab of glue to get them to, go the direction that you want them to. And I did angle my tails on my eggs. You could dovetail if you like. That's always your choice. And there's my egg, dressed up with a pretty burlap bow. I love it. I'm just kind of gathering up my eggs here. I'm going to show you some ideas for trims. I think that's what I was doing here. See these pretty ribbons? How pretty they'll be on those Dollar Tree eggs. And the trims, the white lacy trims are especially beautiful on an Easter egg. Okay, so I guess I'm making a production out of this. I thought I should have sped up this part a little bit. Sorry about that. Just forward over if you don't want to see this. I think I had made a bow. Yes, I did. And I'm just going to show you how I put the bow on. And then I believe I moved on to show you other aspects of the wreath. But this just is so pretty. I can't urge you enough to take the time to decorate your eggs, because when you put them on the wreath, oh my goodness, it's so pretty. And there you have it. All right, now let's move on. My goodness. Okay, so after I painted my bunny and it was completely dry, I took a paintbrush and I used Snow White Waverly chalk paint. And I put a little paint in a bowl and I made sure to have a paper towel there because I'm going to be dry brushing over this bunny. Wait till you see how awesome this is. Now, be sure not to get a glob of paint on your brush. And I found that the easiest way to do this is to, I'm sorry, I have a little bit of shadow in my hand there, but you get the idea. I went horizontally across the piece. And as I brushed over it, lightly, very lightly, those flowers just started to pop. Do you see how I'm doing that? Very lightly and with a dry brush. Now, don't worry if you get a little bit of the dry brushing in between the flowers. That's fine. That looks nice as well. But your primary white is going to be on the flowers. And as you go over the flowers with that dry brush technique, the flowers are going to pop. Imagine how pretty this would be on pink or orchid or a blue bunny, a light blue bunny, or an aqua bunny, or a pale yellow. It would look beautiful on any of those. This was probably the most fun I had with this wreath, was doing this bunny. I went over the whole entire thing with a white dry brush. Now, when I was all finished going over the whole bunny, I looked it over and I decided if I wanted any extra on any of the flowers that maybe I needed a little bit of extra. And you can go back over and do that. You see I'm doing it right there. This is why I chose that bunny in the dollar plus section at the Dollar Tree, because I knew it was going to turn out like this. Now, if you have any areas that you are heavy-handed, you could see up there on the lower left-hand corner, I was a little heavy on one of the flowers. You can go back over that once it's dry with your original color and then just do it over. Actually, I ended up putting my bow there, so it really wouldn't have mattered anyway. But I did it. I took my original color, which was my brown, my burlappy color. And I just painted over those flowers and redid it. Because as you do this, you'll pick up on the technique of it. And it's very light there on the bottom, but I ended up going over that. As I mentioned, you can do that. Just be sure that you wipe your paintbrush after you dip it in your paint. Really swirl it around on your paper towel so that you get most of the paint off. Now you can see me doing it there. I'm swirling and swirling. I don't want any paint globs on my paintbrush. But anyway, so I went over the whole entire bunny, and I found that it was easiest to go in one direction. So very light-handed, I'm very lightly touching this bunny with the paintbrush. And as I do it, the flowers just start showing up so pretty. And again, after I'm all done, I go back over it, make sure that I have everything the way I want it, and everything pretty, even across the piece as far as the flowers are concerned. And you'll see on the finished piece. Now, you can see here how I went over everything. I kind of accentuated the flowers a bit more on a lot of the bunny. So now I believe I'm making the bow for the bunny ear. And you're going to see me, I can't decide. Am I going to put it on the ear or am I going to put it on the neck? And I went back and forth and back and forth. I'm like, where am I going to put it? But I ended up well, I wanted to do something kind of unexpected, which you would probably expect that I would put it on the neck of the bunny, but I decided to put it on the ear. It's kind of peeking around the ear. And you see my little bunny tail? I believe I went ahead and glued that on with hot glue. If your wreath is going to be outside, you might want to use tacky as well. Now I'm making my bow for the neck, and I believe I used 4 different ribbons, and I apologize, my hand is poking in and out of frame there, but it'll straighten out here in just a second. Now you see I'm trying it there, and I'm trying it on the, oh no, I didn't glue the bunny tail on yet. Okay, so I used a gingham check, a real pretty white ribbon that I used on that egg that I was just doing. And if these narrow ribbons are the same on both sides, you can easily just do kind of a figure 8 bow and then secure it in the middle. But some of them were one-sided, in which case I used my original, always my go-to bow making methods. Even on the tiny bows, I do my bows the same way. So what I ultimately decided for this piece was I was going to go for something a little bit different. And I ended up putting the bow on the ear of the bunny, and I really love it. So now I'm doing another white bow. So I put the white bow on the bottom of the stack. Then I did the gingham check and then the white. So I was alternating my colors and my patterns so that it would look pretty and cohesive on the piece. I use craft wire to secure my tiny bows. I think I mentioned that. You could pick that up at the Dollar Tree. It's usually back in this section by all the wreath frames and the floral supplies. I'm going to be connecting all of these bows together to make one very pretty bow. And I did not put a center loop on this bow because I am going to be applying some small florals on the bow of this bunny. Now I tried to match my florals to my ribbon. Again, pinks drive me crazy because there's so many shades of pink. We do have a few different shades of pink on this wreath, but I tried to get them to at least, coordinate with one another. And I'm going to be placing a little baby rose right in the middle of this little bow that I'm creating for the neck of the bunny. And I'm going to show you the florals that I used. I picked up some other florals, which, by the way, are 40% off at Hobby Lobby every other week. And I also used a burlap polka dot. Gotta have a polka dot somewhere, right? I think a couple of my eggs have polka dots. And one of my white narrow ribbons has polka dots. I always love polka dots on an Easter wreath. If you're still hanging in there with me with this tutorial, I hope that if you are not a current subscriber, you will consider becoming one. And leave your comments in the comment box and let me know what you think of this really adorable Easter wreath. And give this video a thumbs up. Now I'm going to be placing all of my bows together and adhering them. I believe I used a pipe cleaner to keep all of these bows together, because I wasn't worried that the pipe cleaner was going to show in the center of the bow, because as I mentioned, I'm going to be popping a really pretty little pink baby rose in there. And there's the last tier, which is a gingham check. Looks very pretty up at the top of that bow. And yes, I did use a pipe cleaner, and I wrapped it around. I always tend to get my hand out of frame when I'm doing narrow ribbon bows. I'm not really sure why. I think it's because they're difficult to do. Your fingers really get in the way, and I have to concentrate so hard. I end up putting the ribbon too close to my face and sacrificing you seeing me. I'm sorry about that. Okay, so I have my bow, and again, back and forth, to the neck, to the ear, to the neck, to the ear. I I had to make a final decision here, and I see what I mean? And I ended up deciding on the neck. I mean the ear, sorry. Goodness me. Oh, boy. Okay, I think I'm going to go ahead and glue on the bunny tail now. Yes, this is a really awesome tail. They have bunny tails at the Dollar Tree, but if you remember, I took off a bunny tail that was a pretty nice bunny tail that came on the rabbit. So you could pop that one back on. I just wanted to use my big fluffy one. So I just showed you there 3 different types of florals that I picked up at Hobby Lobby. 2 of them are very tiny, dainty florals, one in pink, one in white. And then I'm going to show you here in just a second the one that I popped right in the center. And that's that little baby rose. And that's the stem. Those are from Hobby Lobby. They're really pretty. And then I took some of my tiny ones and arranged them around the rose, including the white and the pink. And I just used hot glue to secure them. Again, if you're worried about them falling off, stick a little dab of Aleene's Tacky Glue as well. Now, for this little Happy Easter sign, as I mentioned, this came in a pack. I want to say there was 3 maybe in the pack. And I took some Snow White Waverly chalk paint because I wanted that sign to be white. And I'm going to pop it right on the butt of the bunny. So I took a small paintbrush and I went around and painted with Snow White Waverly chalk paint. I put 2 coats on there. It didn't take long to do. I let one coat dry, put on another one, and then I'm going to be placing it on the bunny's butt. And I'm showing you there that I believe I'm going to be placing the pipe cleaners on now so that I can attach it to the wreath frame. Yes, I am. I ended up putting 4 pipe cleaners on. I hot glued them. My bunny's not going outside. If yours is, you may want to put Aleene's Tacky Glue as well. And I put 2 on the ears. That bunny is going to be sitting on top of the deco mesh. So you'll want to use a full-size pipe cleaner so that you have enough pipe cleaner tails to reach down through the deco mesh to wrap it around a wire. And that deco mesh is really, really full. So you're going to need that full-size pipe cleaner. So I went ahead and I prepped the back of my bunny. I already adhered the flowers to my bow that goes at the ear. And I'm going to be putting one more pipe cleaner right up there on the ear. Here we have the bow on the wreath. Oh my gosh. Am I in love with this wreath? One of my favorite wreaths I think I've ever done. I love this one. So I positioned my bunny on the wreath so that vertically it was even. and I put my bow on, reaching my fingers down through the deco mesh. Now see where I put my bow? I put it at 9 o'clock on that wreath right next to the bunny. Now I'm going to arrange my bows, or the loops of my bow, and I'm going to be cutting off my tails now and angling them in a manner that I prefer. And you can see there that I'm angling my tails. Oh my goodness, that ribbon is insanely cute. That's the cutest Easter ribbon I think I've ever seen. But now you can see what I was talking about placing your bow on there and having your, as much as you possibly can, having your, if you have something on your bow, like wording or a particular thing, like such as the bunnies, how they're mostly, they're positioned well now on the bow. It takes a little bit of forethought to, get everything right when it comes down to it. But that's what crafting is all about. The planning is some of the most fun things that I do when it comes to wreaths. Going to Hobby Lobby is a lot of fun. I love that. But I actually sketch out everything I do. I have a pad, a really beautiful spiral pad that I use, and I sketch out my designs so that I can plan everything out. Now there's my little happy Easter sign, all finished in white. And I'm going to glue that to the bunny after I clean up the back. I take pipe cleaners. What am I saying? I take wire cutters and snip off my pipe cleaners, and then I just push them down in there. Now, when I applied my bunny, and I didn't mention this, but I really pulled my deco mesh out to the sides so that I didn't have a lot of deco mesh bundles just trapped underneath the bunny. You want to be able to see your deco mesh bundles. So really pull them out from the sides when you place your bunny down and really show them off. So I hot glued my happy Easter on the bunny's butt. Now I'm creating a loop at the top of my wreath in the back, attaching it to the wreath wire with a pipe cleaner so I can hang my wreath. I just create a loop, wrap my pipe cleaners around and around the pipe cleaner itself. And then I just pull the loop around so I have the smoothest side of the pipe cleaner right there. And now we have a hanger for a beautiful wreath. Oh my goodness. This one is so pretty. Now I'm going to place my eggs around. I tilt them this way and that way, distribute them around the wreath. There's that pretty green one. And I hot glue my eggs on. Again, if it's going to be outside, a dab of Aleene's to hold those on, probably be a good idea. So I place them all around the wreath. I believe, like I said, I think I used around 8 eggs. You could put as many as you like or as few as you like. And here you have this finished wreath that I absolutely adore. I hope you all feel inspired to make this one, and I hope you can find that bunny at the Dollar Tree. I purchased mine about a couple of weeks ago, but that doesn't mean anything. They've been replenishing their Easter stuff often, so you may be able to find it. I hope you can. If not, you could use another wood bunny. It just won't look like that exactly. Okay. If you like what you see on my channel, I hope you'll subscribe. And until next time, you all take care.